I got a living legend right here.
Yeah, appreciate
culture freedom in the house.
Appreciate it. Yeah, man, it ain't nothing. How about you, man?
Co-founder, Poor Righteous Teachers.
Yes, sir.
The creator of Hip Hop Top Chef, always cooking something up.
Yeah. Yes,
How you feeling?
I'm doing good, man. I mean, just maintaining. That's it.
Welcome to the Mental Margarita Show, right here in Vegas, man, and it's a pleasure to have you. Now, Poor Righteous Teachers. Let's start there. I mean, such an influential group, and the things that you guys brought to hip hop. You guys came from Trenton, New Jersey. What was the energy at that time trying to get heard, trying to get the masses to see what you guys had going on, being a socially and politically hip hop group?
Well, as you know, we were 5%ers, and basically, our knowledge itself came from that. So that's something that we was actually living every day. We was living in public projects called Divine Land. That's what we renamed it. And most of the guys there were 5%ers. It was an everyday activity with a lot of brothers in the area. There was a lot of Muslims, the Christian movement was there. Right. So you could just come out of your house and run into and get somebody and get engaged in some enlightened conversation. So it was a part of our everyday life. Hip hop was something that we grew up in, being that we're from a part of New Jersey where we're wedged right between New York and Philadelphia. Right. We're from South Jersey, so we were about 45 minutes from central Philadelphia. And then we were about an hour and 20 minutes away from New York City. So all the culture that was going on during that time, we were entangled in it. You know what I'm saying? As far as getting a deal, man, Tony D, actually, him and a couple other brothers were like the first ones to kind of actually really cut a record deal first. You had DJ Ready Red from the Ghetto Boys. He was the local DJ at our skating ring before he moved to Texas.
Wow.
Him and another guy named Johnny C. So they were a few years older than us. So we would go to the skate ring and check out Ready Red on the turntables, every Saturday, and hear the new joints along with some other local DJs. There was another brother by the name of Father Ramsey. He was one of the local DJs in the area. But Red had, when he moved to Tennessee and he got the Ghetto Boys and all of that going, we was like, okay, he could do it. And then DJ Tony D, he had a deal through Tommy Boy with another rapper named Gino G. And Gino G, he used to come through the projects and pull up, and he was kind of like a little local celebrity. So we was like, hey man, all these other guys, it's possible. We just got to get on our grind. So me and Wise, being that we knew each other ever since we was like 13, and then when he moved up to the projects that I was living in, we just start pounding at it every day, going out, trying to do whatever we could to be heard. We linked up with Father Shahi after we recorded Time to Say Peace and Butt Naked Booty Blessed. And, he joined the group. And then after that, it was another brother in the neighborhood. He had a little local record label. And we put our first single out on his record label. And from there, it got heard by DJ Red Alert in 98.7 KISS. He started playing it, and Profile heard it, and we end up signing a deal. I gave you the short version, but there's a longer version to it, but those were pretty much the building blocks to us getting a deal and being heard. At that time, if you were nice, and most of the people that was involved in hip hop, they really loved it. You know what I mean?
Right. It was
passionate. It wasn't a whole lot of cash in it for the artist. So if you was nice, there was a chance that you might get a break, and we just was fortunate enough for that to happen for us.
Wow, that's fantastic. So 1989, you guys released a few singles: "Time to Say Peace," "Butt Naked Booty Blessed." What inspired you guys to create this critically acclaimed classic, Holy Intellect? And was it a struggle getting out in those markets and received well at first?
Well, the thing about it, "Time to Say Peace" was, and "Butt Naked Booty Blessed" was two songs that we recorded on our own coin. It was a studio called Epsilon Studio in Hamilton, New Jersey. And that was more like out in the suburbs. And the way we caught wind of that was through Tony D. He was recording some other artists there, and we was like looking for a local studio. So he gave us the number. We called him up, set up the studio time. And when we met up with him in the studio, we had the beat for "Time to Say Peace" already. So he actually sampled that in the studio. And we rapped over it. And then he had the "Butt Naked Booty" track, which was Funky Soul Macorsa. He had that with him. And then we did those two songs. And it was just something about it, man. When we left the studio that night, I was like, man, this thing sounds like a record. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because we was recording stuff in my house.
This ain't hobby now. This is starting to sound like the real deal.
We was like, yo, that was our first experience in like a big studio. And we came out with those two songs as is. And then once we got the deal, Profile wanted to sign us to a single deal. And we was like, bet, we was young, we was hungry, trying to get in the industry. And once they heard the rest of what we was recording, they was like, nah, let's make an album. Let's do it for it. And that's how Holy Intellect came about. Is they wanted an album after that. So we went in, and every joint we recorded ended up on the album, maybe except one. I mean, we was just going in and just, knocking them down.
You guys been in the zone.
It just all ended up on there. We didn't record a lot of extra material on that particular record because, the resources wasn't there. The budget wasn't that big.
That's right.
So, we was just like, listen, when we go in here, everything need to be tight, wise, intelligent, spit fire, obviously. And me and him just got together on the songs we were kind of going in and out on. We made sure it was tight. Tony D was one of the dopest producers in the area at that time. Father Shahi was a very skilled DJ. So everybody knew their role and everybody just played it. And it was very organic. And we had a lot of fun. The fun you hear on the records was actually the fun that we was having at the moment. We just left the mics on, and me and Wise went in, did our thing. And later Shahi came back, put his scratches in. And that was pretty much it, man. And, obviously, the video came for Rock This Funky Joint, which was the last song we recorded. I mean, our first single they put out, like you said, was "Time to Say Peace," but the fans actually pointed us in the direction of Rock This Funky Joint. Because once they heard the album, they was like, this one right here. People would pull up in their cars, and, this was a time when people rode around with the Alpine systems and the Jeeps and all of that. Yeah, so folks would pull up on us with their Jeeps and be like, "Yo, son, this the one. Y'all need to do something with this one."
It's this one right here.
Yeah, so we was like, okay, because our mindset at the time was knowledge, teaching knowledge, and all of that. So we were more geared towards like Holy Intellect, Word from the Wise, but Rock This Funky Joint. Even though we liked it, we thought it was dope, but, the people chose it. And from that day on, I always let the people choose what is what. I have fun, record music, make beats, but the people will choose what they want and what they like. You just got to make sure that what you're doing is representative of your true self. And the people will choose. The people will make you, man. So shout out to everybody who, pointed us in the direction of that song. Shout out to all the fans that gravitated towards it and made that song the classic that it is today. All day, every day. Take
Right.
time to just be human. Take time to feel. Take time to love. Take time to just, you know what? I don't have it that way today. You know what? But
That's it.
everything is still good. You know what I mean? Because trying to keep up that facade and trying to do that, and then the ego and hey man, it's a hard deal, bro. It's a
It's a
hard deal
hard
to try
deal.
to. It's a hard deal, and the execs are sitting back somewhere living their life.
You know it. Look,
Living their life.
they sipping a martini and having a steak.
Yeah, while
Saying,
you trying to maintain that image that they're using to sell records with.
that's
You
it.
know?
And then if something happens to you and you pass away from some ignorant stuff, they still reaping the benefits.
Yeah. I mean, because once again, what about your publishing?
Right.
And what about your royalties? What about your copyrights? And what about your image? Who owns your image? And the one thing about what we're witnessing right now, and I don't want to bring up these names, but one of the things that we're witnessing right now in the media with certain recording artists and things is that we're seeing who controls their image. We're seeing who controls the brand. We're seeing who control these things. So now we should be looking at it like this. It's not their fault because we didn't understand what we were signing and the deal we put ourselves in. We have to better educate ourselves to be able to make better choices.
Yes.
And instead of being a maker, be the maker, the owner. Be the maker and the owner. Because if you make it, you should own it.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And you can sell. I mean, sometimes you gotta work some deals out. But in working that deal out, don't sell yourself out.
Right. Don't sell your soul. Now,
Exactly.
what are some of the new projects that you're currently working on?
Well, I'm doing a thing, as you know, with the Hip Hop's Top Chef. I'm selling the barbecue sauce and rub. I created my
Barbecue sauce, baby.
Barbecue sauce and rub. You can get it at www.coat-freecollection.com, and you can go on there and you can pick it up. You can order it today and have it sometime before the end of next week. I have t-shirts, hats on there as well. And I have a show on Foodie TV called Hip Hop's Top Chef. You can download the app, go on to Foodie TV and find me under Hip Hop's Top Chef and, learn how to cook some basic cuisines, things like omelets,
Nice.
specialty pancakes,
Nice.
how to make homemade biscuits, things like that. I got more episodes coming. I have a solo record that I produced called Tools of the Trade, and I have a couple EPs. And I did a shout out to my man F-150, may he eternally rest in peace. He was a young brother that I grew up with. Me and him linked up actually over the internet and recorded a whole record. It's called Bars Is Back. And I'm still trying to get that out there in circulation for people to support. But if you go online, you'll see the video Jules and stuff like that. It's F-150 and Culture Freedom Bars Is Back. Wise Intelligent. He has numerous solo projects out there that he's working on. He's also working in conjunction with Rap Snacks with their nonprofit portion called the Boss Up Program, where he's teaching young kids from the inner city how to become entrepreneurs and put out stuff like that. As you know, my man Father Shaheed, may he eternally rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Shaheed. He passed away a few years back on doing something he loved, riding motorcycles.
Riding the
bike. He was producing, doing things, like I said, producing for some artists in the area. He also was working with Superman, DJ Clark Kent. He was a part of their production team for a while. So we're keeping ourselves busy. I mean, nothing, over the top, but
any shows? I mean, you guys doing any little touring things or?
The last performance we did was in Vermont. And when we got inducted into the National Hip Hop Museum out of Washington, D.C. And I believe it was on Juneteenth we did it. And so shout out to my man Jervy Beaver and them over at the Hip Hop Museum. We got inducted with that. And
congratulations, my brother.
Yeah, man. And we just been trying to coordinate some stuff. I was actually talking to Wise earlier today, and the conversation got deep. We was on the phone for about 2 hours. And then I just think that we just got to get something consistent going on, and then we'll be back out there performing with one another. But we don't have there's no beef, there's no issue. It's just
that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Coordinated, if there's some promoters out there that's watching the show right now, and you would love to see Poor Righteous Teachers come and mash up the place, just hit us up. You know what I mean?
We got to bring you out to Vegas.
Yeah, we'll perform the classics and some of the new joints. I got a video out right now. It's called Ain't Nothing.
Ain't Nothing, yeah.
And another song called Back, where I'm getting a chance to kind of, do some other things on the mic.
Let it off, huh?
A little something, man, and it'll be dope to come out to Vegas, man, and do some stuff out there. I got a few people that's around there in that area, so it'll be good to see them. Like they say, build it and they'll come. So
it,
if PRT, we still here, we still doing it, still fresh. Bring us out, man.
PRT, Poor Righteous Teachers, Culture, Freedom. And let me tell you something, on behalf of the Mental Margarita Show, man, we love you. You guys are legends. You brought so much to the culture. And we're so excited to be able to sit down with you and have this conversation, and look forward to seeing you. And we definitely got to collaborate in the future, my brother.
Hey, man, thanks for having me on. Thanks for thinking of us. And, man, it's a pleasure.
God bless you, my brother. Let's shake the world.
Likewise, man. Peace.
We got Joshua Page. Josh Page in the building. What's happening, brother?
What's up, Todd? First and foremost, forgive me for the technical difficulties. And most importantly, thanks for having me, man. This is exciting. Last time I saw you was last summer.
You know what I love? I tell you one thing that I love. I love the fact that you're on the Mental Margarita Show.
Yeah, I'm excited about that too.
And you know what else I love? I love everything that you've been doing. And I want to take it right in the beginning. So we got Brooklyn in the building.
For sure.
Brooklyn is in the house.
For sure. And
you started out during the 90s hip hop era. This was your landscape.
Yeah.
So how did that have so much importance into what you're doing now?
It's funny because I was born 1990, so I was really oblivious to a lot of the hip hop culture. It was around me growing up in Brooklyn, but I had very churchy parents, so they didn't really let me dive into that
right
away. But when I would go visit my relatives, that's when I was able to get a peek behind the curtain of hip hop culture. But I've always been inspired by music, and even simple things like song titles a lot of the times, or the name of these different albums, like the title of the albums always stood out to me. And I would visualize these songs and match them to what the title is while listening to them. So it's always been a great inspiration, even to this day, still.
Wow. So I know that you do a whole lot of things, from, installation design, from sculpture, photography, and things of that.
Yeah.
What has made your work so diversified as far as the versatility of what you do? Was that something that was a need being in the industry that you're in, or is that something that was a passion that you just, you got from all these different types of art that you do?
It stems from my childhood. I never liked being put in a box. I've always liked and enjoyed exploring so many different mediums, from photography. And throughout my life, I've been inspired through different stages to want to dabble in different things, because for me, I'm just multifaceted. I just never liked being stuck in one spot. Even physically, I don't like being contained in one spot. I need to try different things. Just as an artist, I just feel like that's my actual purpose, is to be able to explore so many different things and to ultimately challenge myself. through learning these different mediums. So
Yeah, I can. You know what? I think that's one of the things that I find so really compelling about what you do is that you're very broad with your horizons. Now, did you get a lot of that from the institutions that you went to? I see you went to FIT. How was that experience as far as just educating you and preparing you for what you do?
well, first off, I was excited at the time to go to FIT because they had a bunch of girls. So I was super excited about it. That was the number one inspiration for sure. They had the flyest girls, but I thought FIT was the best fit for me to specifically study illustration is because, first of all, this was a state university that wasn't overly pricey. For me, I just definitely didn't want to be in debt, and I already had a strategy before even applying to FIT. But what I enjoyed is that with the illustration program that I studied, they offered both like digital design, but also still being able to work with traditional fine art, which is something that I also enjoy too. And I realized at the time, I'm going to need to really understand the digital space. And then also at the time, I was randomly working retail at this store called Anthropology. A friend of mine hooked me up with this job working in the stockroom, and it's an all women's clothing store. And I'm like, what am I doing here?
Right.
It was so random, but something that I noticed was their window displays and their art team. They actually had an art team there in the wood shop within the stores. And while in college, I was like, it kind of clicked for me.
Wow.
This is something that I think I want to tap into. So I was able to land an internship, and then that's pretty much how the installation side of it started, because I already had the traditional design experience and skills. So I would say I owe it to working in retail and that actually helping me being in this random job that led to, career for graduation.
Wow. Now, when you're talking about installation design, I mean, you think about New York City and there's so many displays, right? I mean, it's such an art. It's like it's crazy because it's a big world out there.
Yeah.
You think about New York City.
Yeah.
And your average person, your window shopper, is not really thinking about the actual detail in the art, but yet it's still affecting them and stimulating them in a way to, maybe to entice them to want to come into a store.
Yeah.
Or to purchase something. So, I mean, wow, the influence that you have to have on that is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Now you did Saks Fifth Avenue. That's been your go-to now.
Yeah, that's where I'm currently at now. That's my current day job. I like to say I work with them, and it's been a fantastic experience, honestly.
That's big, baby.
Yeah. We just finished the holiday windows, and I just remember, years ago, always walking by those windows during the holiday time, and now just being a part of that, it's been fun. It's been 5 years so far, and I've been able to see a different side of installation art, working specifically with Saks, because I would say it's a little more like commercial art with Saks Fifth Avenue, whereas Anthropology, everything was built and made by hand. But the cool thing about Saks is you kind of get to see the fabrication side and production companies and how they actually use these technical machines and design renderings to actually build these props. And I wouldn't say I'm a super religious person. Okay. Something that always stood out to me was the spirituality and what that means for me personally, because I understand that it's a very different experience for everyone. And I used to think it was a joined experience, but everybody's perception from a psychological standpoint and a spiritual standpoint of that is so different. And I realized it's a personal experience for me. And I've been curious about it because, we are just a physical form and we all have, our spirits within our physical shell, which lives beyond us. We technically aren't our bodies. So learning that, to me is just so fascinating because, when we're done in this lifetime, I believe we're going to take a different form through our spiritual energy,
Yes.
through our spirit.
I believe the same. I really do.
Yeah. So I've been basically exploring that within my recent series of works, because again, I just remember, these stories in the Bible, but then also learning about different spiritual ideas within different religions and how some of them overlap. And, just being really inspired by like the universal laws of attraction and karma and these things, and just understanding how the universe works. It just kind of started making sense to me as I became an adult. So I just kind of wanted to visualize that and put that on the canvas and kind of make sense of what that actually looks like to me,
That's something else, man. And it's pure. That's really a pure process for you.
Yeah.
Because you're actually speaking your truths artistic.
Yeah.
That's what it is, man. Hey, Paige, I know that later on in the show we're also going to do a little tour of your studio and see things. I want to thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
It's been an absolute pleasure of you being on the Mental Margarita Show, my brother.
Thank you.
And I look forward to seeing you soon. All right, let's shake the world.
Thank you. I also just want to say one thing. I like your Stardust song.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, I like that song. So yeah, I appreciate you having me, man. Thank you.
I appreciate you, man. God bless you, my brother.
All right, likewise. Peace.
Take care.
Starstruck, here's a sprinkle of the stardust. Hold your champagne glass and your cigars up. See the guys with mob ties drive the cars up. Bright lights, most nights they buy the bars up. Candy coated Chevy cars on the highway. It's Frankie baby, it's on and this is my way. Dean Martin at the Sands this Friday. With Sammy Davis, here's a little hint where I stay. The city shines like Liberace's mansion. And you know Elvis had the whole city dancing. Showgirl silhouettes.